Welcome back, guys. Mark here and Miss Empire. This week we're talking about the old saying from Joseph Campbell, follow your bliss. It's becoming an adage, really. Do what makes you happy. Is Joseph Campbell correct when he tells us to follow our bliss? Yeah, he is correct. However, the way that most people interpret that saying, or misinterpret it, they end up not following their bliss, really, and they end up avoiding pain. The problem is that doing what makes you happy feels a lot like doing what decreases pain in your life. So it is important for us to follow our bliss, but a lot of us aren't emotionally ready to even know what our bliss is because we're too busy avoiding pain. So there's some symptoms, some signs of avoiding pain and increasing pleasure. Well, one symptom of avoiding pain is self-justification. When you're following your bliss, are you doing it because you feel like you have to justify something? Like you have to get back at the guys who beat you up in high school. Like you have to prove your dad wrong or prove that one teacher wrong who told you you're no good. If that's why you're following your bliss, it probably isn't your bliss, and you're probably avoiding pain. If you're always busy, in constant state of busyness, we talked about that before with OCD. Busyness is a symptom or is one sign of compulsive behavior. And the implicit thought in compulsive or obsessive thoughts and compulsive behaviors is, I can't, but I have to. Well, what if you can't do something, yet you had to do that thing? You'd be in a constant state of busyness, always working, but not really getting anything done. A lot of email, Twitter, Wikipedia here. Any sort of addictions. And I'm not just talking about drug and alcohol addictions, also emotional addictions. Addiction to other people's approval. Do you need people's approval? I mean, in some sense, we all need somebody's approval. But is it a deep emotional need? If you have addictions and you think you're following your bliss, you're probably not following your bliss. You're avoiding pain. And do you see yourself as an individual versus society? Do you see your wants, your needs as somehow different from the wants and needs of society or your environment? See a lot of this with the campus protesters. Whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. But they're not really trying to help improve society or change things that need to be changed. It's more of a tear it down mentality. I would say any sort of tear it down mentality indicates you're not really following your bliss. But being part of a protest, getting that benzo that is a part mob mentality, it feels good, I guess you could say, but only because you're avoiding pain. However, signs that you are increasing pleasure is when you're following your bliss, you're constantly connecting with more and more people. You're reaching out. You're getting involved. You're engaging. I have a story of a guy I know who is a designer. And he's working on this design project. I don't know if it's several projects, but yeah, that's the problem. Nobody knows is because he doesn't want to release it until it's all done and completed and perfect. He's not connecting. That is a sign he is avoiding pain. Whenever you receive criticism, do you accept the criticism? Doesn't mean the criticism's correct, but can you at least entertain the criticism and go, oh, maybe I am wasting my life and I'm a total idiot? Can you at least entertain that thought? If you can't, if you just shut down any sort of criticism, anybody criticizes you, call them a hater, probably not following your bliss. You're probably avoiding pain, always learning a new skill. You have plans and you're willing to change those plans when need be, indicated and willingness to change. Is there some sort of plan? And are you looking at the nexus of what you're good at and what society needs? It's a good area to look in if you really want to follow your bliss, as opposed to seeing yourself as against society and who cares what other people want. I'm going to do what I need. If you are explaining physics to a 10-year-old, do you use complex mathematical equations and all this huge terminology? Or do you come up with some metaphor about, toy trucks, or 10-year-old probably doesn't play with toy trucks, video games? Do you explain it to him in the context of video games? Or you're coming up with big equations and terminology, but you're just really making yourself look smart. Really, it's about finding the nexus. How do I integrate with my environment and help improve it? So really what this comes down to, whether you're avoiding pain or increasing your pleasure, it of course comes down to emotional management. Avoiding pain is the emotion comes in, the anxiety or anger comes into your boundary, and before you even feel it, you make the unconscious decision to turn away from it. It's too painful, but turning away from it in the moment, getting lost in your OCD, your obsessive thoughts, your compulsive behaviors, busyness as an example, it feels good temporarily. And you can mistake that. If this is the only way that you've ever felt good in your life is by avoiding emotions, then it makes sense that you will mistake that for bliss. And when Joseph Campbell tells you, you'll go, oh, that's what I am doing when I'm working on this design project for the last 3.5 years, even though I'm not showing it to anybody. I want it to be absolutely perfect. Not following your bliss. So that's the avoidance of pain, really. It's the avoidance of emotional pain. And of course, the increase of pleasure. This comes in with the nexus and learning and connecting is the anxiety comes in and you confront it in a healthy way. It means you manage the threat in a way that not only improves you, that helps you, but helps out maybe another person, maybe the environment in some way. Doesn't matter. It's just good for you and it's good for other people. This is just goes back to game theory, trader principle kinds of things. Nothing complicated, but it's all in awareness, all in how aware can we be of our emotions. And when we do this enough, if we become aware enough of our emotions, then we will naturally go from avoidance of pain to increase of pleasure. And you will begin to follow your bliss. However, as we can see, it's not something that you can just choose to do. You need to make a lot of little choices throughout your life, eventually getting yourself to the point, maybe it'll take you 10 years, maybe it'll take you 50, I don't know, but get to the point where you can trust yourself to follow your bliss. Joseph Campbell talks about another concept, the part in the hero's journey called the magic flight. It is the end of the second act in a 3-act play, or the end of the third act in a 4-act play. It is when the hero has gone through all the challenges, he has confronted that which holds the power in his life. He has become at one with the Father, the atonement with the Father, which is essentially a conversation with that which holds power in your life. He has created intimacy with the female. That is a conversation with the mother, quote unquote, that which represents intimacy in your life. And after working on these issues, the hero gets to the boon, that which he set out to achieve on his journey, ready to bring it back to society, to his environment. He has worked on himself, and then he goes on this magic flight back to the original state that he was in, whether represented as a city or a psychological state of being. The magic flight, when you're really following your bliss, there's an air of supernatural, magicness to it. Of course, it's not really supernatural, it's not really magic, but it's this powerful feeling that comes from being in touch with your higher power, your God, everybody's God, which is reality. Follow your bliss. This is increasing your pleasure in the context of reality. This is out of touch with reality. This is in touch with reality. You know how else you can tell you're avoiding pain? Is everything is happening to me. And if you're increasing pleasure, everything is happening for me. Now what's interesting about this is the world really changing? These two people are living maybe even in the same building, in the same neighborhood. But here, everything's happening to me, and here, everything's happening for me. It's you who are changing the relationship. By changing yourself. By changing yourself, you change the relationship, specifically with reality, but it all comes from getting in touch with our pain. It all starts here. Journaling, group, meditation, therapy, praying to God, praying to reality if you have to, creating attachments, being honest with who you are. Being honest with who you are when there's faces right here, creating secure attachments. The unconscious comes up. It feels uncomfortable in the short term, but in the long term, you can manage it in a productive way. You can do a magic flight sort of thing to reality, and that is the increase of pleasure, just putting it in another way. That's it for this week, guys. Like and subscribe, tell a friend, or reference my lectures on emotional diagrams if this wasn't exactly clear. Maybe I'll insert a link. Maybe I'll insert a link right here, figure out how to do that, go back to my explanation of anger and anxiety and how those work and how those are two fundamental emotions. And do whatever you can to get in touch with the pain so you can go from the avoidance of pain to an increase of pleasure. That's it for this week, guys. Keep doing that, and I think that you'll see the ultimate pleasure in life is delving into that which causes you pain.